What's going on, guys? I'm back with another video. Now, lately in the news, there's been a lot of negative stuff going on and a lot of sad things going on out in the world. But it's always good to look at the positive stuff that comes out of the news. And one of those news was that NASA probably found life on Mars. Now, it's not 100% evidence that there was life there, but they found some evidence that could indicate that there was life on Mars, which is very, very fascinating.
Look at this rock. It's covered in a strange pattern of dark spots. Patterns like this are nearly always traced back to life forms, microbes, and bacteria. But this rock isn't from Earth. It's from Mars. The rock was recently discovered by NASA's Perseverance rover, and yesterday in a press conference, they claimed it was the best evidence to date of alien life on Mars.
This very well could be the clearest sign of life that we've ever found on Mars.
We've heard similar things to this before. Potential biosignatures on exoplanets or organic molecules in the clouds of Venus.
Now, I'm going to say this off the bat. There's 100% other life out in the universe. The universe is too big for us to be the only form of life. I'm just saying.
So let's get to the bottom of this together. Earlier this year, I visited NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory where Perseverance was built to discuss the search for alien life. And these were the exact patterns that they told me they were searching for. If they are right, this represents a significant turning point in the course of humanity. An answer to the question we have been asking for thousands of years. Are we alone in the universe?
We're not. We're definitely not, bro. It's way too big for us to be alone. Especially since there's things called exoplanets. If you don't know what that is, it's basically planets that are like Earth that are suitable for life forms.
Our story begins in the Jezero
Oh my god. Then we're back.
crater. NASA chose to send Perseverance here because it looks like it would have been friendly to life in the past. The crater was once a vast lake. Various rivers flowed with water, and all of the right materials were present to support life. But today, Mars is dry and arid, so Percy is searching for fossils of ancient life. On June 9th last year, they drove into an inlet channel, and a slab of hardened rock stood out to the team. They drove closer, and what they found was amazing. The rock sample appeared to be covered in these tiny little dark spots and large circles. The team immediately gave them a nickname: leopard spots and poppy seeds. While this might look pretty normal to you and I, this set off alarm bells for the geologists at NASA.
My name is Adam Stelzner. I was the chief engineer for Perseverance. I'm currently the chief engineer for the Mars sample return effort.
On Earth, very similar kinds of markings have been observed, and they are often linked to
Oh
microbes.
wait, are they actually gonna like return the rover? I thought it was like a one thing there, like it stays at Mars. But if they're gonna return the rover, that's actually, and they bring samples like this, bro. That's, I mean, I already know there's life there, but even having evidence of it too, also just like, it's just very exciting to me.
Kind of like a fossilized record that the mud was once
It's
filled
very
with
cool.
life.
If we saw them here on Earth, we'd say, oh, that's done by biology. But seeing it on Mars?
Everyone was naturally really excited, so they immediately got to work, deploying Perseverance's whole toolkit to analyze the sample. Given the importance of what they might have stumbled upon, the team decided to drill into it and preserve it for further analysis. A key goal of Perseverance is to drill these samples.
How big is a
and collect them so that
rover?
one day we can send a mission to retrieve them and bring them back to Earth. Remember this for later. And so they drilled, taking a sample and sealing it in a metal tube. The sample was nicknamed Sapphire Canyon, and it's one of the most valuable samples ever collected on Mars.
We are taking cores with Perseverance, and we've had some cores that appear to give us potential ancient biosignatures.
Percy even took a selfie right after drilling the sample. You can see the freshly drilled rock down here. Little did they know at the time what they were going to find when they analyzed the rock could change the course of human history forever.
Did life arise on Mars? Huge question.
Yeah.
If life arises everywhere where it can, that paints a very different picture of the universe than one in which life only occurs extremely rarely upon special circumstances.
But before we get too far ahead of ourselves and declare that we have found alien fossils, we need to be careful because we've been wrong before. Our hunt for life on Mars is a story.
I'll be honest. I mean, to me, the rock just looks like random patterns, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. So I don't really know how that shows evidence of life, but I think he's gonna explain it more.
Now spans multiple decades. In 1976, NASA's Viking landers had finally made it to the Red Planet, and it was time to perform the first experiments designed to detect Martian life. They essentially just squirted nutrients into the Martian soil to see if anything was alive in it that would eat the nutrients. All of a sudden, the Martian soil started to release gas, as if there were microbes and bacteria that was inside the soil digesting it. Everyone was so excited. They thought we had proven that Mars has microbes, but the scientists eventually realized reactive chemicals in the soil would very easily explain the results. No need for life, just salts. Finally, as we entered the 2000s and started putting rovers on the surface of Mars, Spirit and Opportunity, the evidence all seemed to point to the fact that Mars was once very similar to Earth, covered in vast oceans and rivers of liquid water.
We know from Spirit and Opportunity, Mars was wet 3 billion years ago when life was just starting here on Earth. And we know from Curiosity that the conditions of that wet Mars were habitable for life.
Naturally, this led scientists to believe that fossil records of alien life from this time must be hiding around these lake beds and rivers. Enter Perseverance, sample in hand, or should I
Wait.
say hiding. Naturally, this led scientists to believe that fossil records of alien life from this time must be hiding around these lake beds and rivers. Enter Perseverance, sample.
Bro, I wish we like sent something over there that can like drill deep, deep. Because I feel like if there was fossils, like dinosaur fossils, you have to dig deep. Because that's how we found fossils here about dinosaurs. Because we dig very deep. If we brought something over there that can dig really deep into the soil, we'll definitely find some fossils there for
In
sure.
hand, or should I say robotic arm, ready to make the biggest discovery on Mars to this day. Perseverance has a number of tools in its arsenal to perform analysis and help us search for signs of life. First, there's Pixel. This device basically helps us find which elements are present in the sample. And then we have Sherlock. It uses lasers to detect certain minerals and organic molecules. Now,
Bro, this is crazy to me that this tech is so advanced. It was made in like the early 2000s.
Percy aimed
Like we really have a lot of advancements in tech.
tools at the sample, it made everyone
Even back then.
stop. It's exactly what they hoped for. The mudstone contained organic molecules, carbon-based compounds, right where those little strange spots
Poppy
were.
seeds.
And it didn't stop there. The rings also seem to be filled with iron, phosphorus, sulfur, and two very special minerals, Vivianite and Greigite. On Earth, Vivianite and Greigite are often associated with decaying animals and plant matter. That's a huge clue. Over the next year, scientists on Earth pushed this data to its limit. They looked at the composition of the sample and hypothesized about what might have created these weird spots. And finally, just a few days ago, they made their announcement.
We put it out to our scientific friends to pressure test it, to analyze it, and go, did we get this right? Do we think this is signs of ancient life on Mars? And after a year of review, they have come back and they said, listen, we can't find another explanation. So this very well could be the clearest sign of life that we've ever found on Mars.
In simple terms, it's actually insane. They had found all three key ingredients for life in one rock sample: liquid water, organic molecules, and an energy source. It's the first time they'd found all three of them in one sample. If you think about it, it's kind of like if you stumbled across a campsite with a campfire ring, some ashes, and some leftover food. That's really strong evidence that
That's a good comparison. I like that he gave that comparison because in my mind I'm like, how is that really? Now I see why that it can be strong evidence of life because it has like those materials they're associated with life forms and it's basically like a campfire.
someone had camped there, even if we can't
Because
see
you know when you see a campfire that's been burnt out and has ashes, you can already tell someone was just there, especially how
them right now. They did, of course, consider some alternative solutions, and what they found honestly shocked me. Those two key minerals they found, Vivianite and Greigite, suggest that the reaction that took place is something known as a redox reaction. We know that microbial life
Redox
can perform these
reaction.
reactions, but there are a few other possible explanations, at least in theory. The first is just plain old normal geology at high temperatures. If you heated the mud up and kept it hot for a long time, we would see the same
Bro, someone send this video to Flight. Someone send this video to Flight. I want Flight to react to this.
results. But there is literally no evidence for the rock experiencing this high heat. In fact, Vivianite
What would
specifically
Flight think
only
about
forms
this?
at low temperatures.
Life
and would be
in
destroyed
Mars.
if things got too hot. So since we still see it in the samples today, high temperatures are probably not the solution. The second alternative they considered was acidic water reactions. Essentially, if really acidic liquid had flowed through the rock over a long period of time, it could have caused these minerals to form. But again, the problem with this hypothesis is we would expect to see a ton of other evidence for this acid, and there's literally nothing else. In fact, they even found a mineral called olivine in the veins of the rock. Olivine is destroyed by acid. So again, probably not the solution we're looking for. The third hypothesis they tested was whether the organic molecules could have just undergone this reaction themselves, driven by a catalyst. In chemistry, catalysts are just substances that help to speed up a reaction. So if one was present, in theory, the findings could be explained without the need for life. But again, this seems pretty unlikely at low temperatures. The scientists all agreed that there's not really any strong evidence to support this idea. So looking at all of these options, it's pretty clear that ancient microbial life is the best possible solution for what we have observed. The findings
Microbial life. What is microbial life? It's like microscopic life?
perfectly line up with what scientists have suspected to be on Mars for so long now. If the microbes were living in the Jezero Lake mud, using the sulfur and iron as a source of energy, they would have left behind these leopard print and poppy seed patterns as a kind of waste product. Everything seems to point towards this idea that the mud was once filled with life, and those signatures were locked in time as the mud hardened into stone. So if everyone is extremely convinced that the only plausible explanation is life, why don't they just say that? Why this could have been, maybe, potential biosignature hint of life on Mars? I feel like we've heard it all before. Well, as Carl Sagan said, extraordinary claims demand extraordinary evidence. And to be honest, there's no claim more extraordinary than saying you found aliens. And so we need to go to Mars and get the sample ourselves. For discoveries like this, NASA has something called a confidence of life.
Bro, that's when we start having, bro, it's crazy because we used to say that by 2025, we'll be going to Mars. It's already 2025, and there's no plans to go to Mars. Bro, the time it will take us to get there, I think it's like 6 months or 3 months. But even then, bro, the amount of like power we need, like, bro, it's just, and then human be able to survive there. It's like too much things, bro. And I already hear a lot, especially in the news, that we're far away from going to Mars anytime soon.
Detection scale. It's basically a framework that they use to rank how confident they are that a discovery is really evidence of alien life. It goes from level 1, being a detection of some kind of signal we know can come from life, to level 7, being multiple independent follow-up observations of the actual sample giving the same result. Aliens. Right now, this detection is probably somewhere in the middle of that scale. NASA haven't come out and publicly said where they rank it. But if we want to get it up to a level 7, we need to go out and bring that sample back to Earth.
Why do you bring samples back from Mars? Well, for all the ingenuity, all the smarts that we can shove into a spacecraft and put on the surface of Mars, it does not match the ingenuity we have here on Earth.
The Mars rovers can only do so much with their limited toolkit, so if we can bring those samples back to Earth and study it in our labs, we can be sure whether what Percy found really is life or not. The answer is Mars sample return. Like I said earlier, Perseverance has been slowly collecting samples of interest on Mars for the last few years, sealing and preserving them for
Oh,
us to
so we
study.
don't actually need to send humans. We just need to send like another droid over there to collect the samples. Okay, never mind, never mind. Then we can definitely get these samples in like in the next 10 years.
As it stands, Percy has done everything it can
Maybe
possibly do
less.
from the surface
Maybe.
of Mars. There's nothing more we can remotely extract from the sample until we get our hands on it.
It's really hard. It takes 3 missions. One to take the samples, one to put a rocket on the surface of Mars and put the samples in orbit, and another to scoop it up from orbit and bring it back to Earth. That has been such a daunting task that NASA has really struggled to get going with it. But we are now officially moving out on Mars sample return. Perseverance and the Mars 2020 project was the first leg of sample return.
Literally the world's most expensive delivery service.
The National Academy of Sciences, every 10 years, makes a decadal survey to tell NASA where they should go and how they should prioritize their efforts. And for the last 2 decadal surveys, they've said that Mars sample return is the #1 priority.
Yeah. But for the last few years, Mars sample return has been in limbo. Budget cuts to NASA have been threatening to cancel the mission altogether.
We could ultimately be able to discover whether Mars was alive.
If there's ever a moment for us to come together and answer one of humanity's biggest questions,
Bro, the thing is, I don't even think this is an actual question. We're definitely not alone, bro. Do you see how big the universe is? Especially how big our own galaxy is, let alone our own galaxy. Like, there's definitely life somewhere, bro. Especially since we found a lot of exoplanets. So I don't even think this is a question, bro. It's just, I don't know.
I think it's this. We need to bring Mars to Earth. If it all goes well, perhaps sometime in the 2030s, we can expect to have the sample in hand. If you want me to make a full video all about how Mars sample return will work, I can definitely do that. Just let me know down in the comments. I do wonder though, once we have the sample back and we study it and presumably find that it really was alien life, what changes for humanity from that point onward?
I've thought about this quite a bit. I think if we find evidence of life on another world, it will change the way all of us think about being alive. It will change the way all of us think about being a living thing. And I believe it will also get us all together.
The idea that we
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. I think it's gonna be like a 1 week thing where like people are gonna have trends about it, be like, oh, wow, there's evidence of life, wow, wow, and then it's gonna be memes, and it's just gonna die out. I'm just being honest. That's what's gonna happen.
might be a very unique occurrence, that life might be extremely unusual, is frightening to me, because we as a species seem to career towards the edge of self-annihilation on a regular basis. So I would love it if it were the case that in fact it looks like life exists everywhere there's an opportunity for it to exist. And then we can look out into the cosmos, and when we do, we see lots of places that have the conditions that would support life. And so maybe that means that there's a lot of life out there to be discovered.
It reminds me there was a time when people were pretty sure the Earth was flat. Discovering that the Earth is a ball is profound. And then when people realized Earth is just another planet, Mars, Venus, it changes the way you feel about being alive on a planet. I think it'll be profound.
Bro, that's crazy how big space is, bro. That little dot right here is Earth. Wow. And compare it to how vast space is, bro. Whew. it really gets you thinking, bro. It really just blows my mind.
Arthur C. Clarke once said that two possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe, or we are not, and both are equally as terrifying. I think we may have just found our answer.
We're definitely not alone, bro. The universe is way too big for us to be alone. But hey, let me know what y'all think. Are we alone or we not? And yeah, hope y'all have a good day. Peace. Hopefully this could like, you know, like, video could help you or something. I don't know.